To be honest, the abuse was so bad. I would rather be dead than married to him another day enduring that abuse. My ex-husband was strangling me, and he had me with one hand strangling me in a corner of our house. And our daughter ran down the stairs and physically stopped him as he was coming in to punch me in my face. And at that moment, she looked at me and I looked at her, and I knew that was the moment it was time to leave. We had to get out of there. I became homeless from the DV. Moved around a bit. She had changed schools multiple times as well. So wherever the shelter, domestic violence shelter was, that's where she'd go to school. So it was hard for her to adjust. It's hard for her to actually trust people and peers, even teachers.
When I was about 9 or 10 years old, I remember being in the office with my social worker at the time. And I remember sitting there and I'd see the degrees, the degrees in the wall. And I remember sitting there thinking that this guy doesn't know what I'm going through. I remember telling myself, when I get older, I'm gonna be on the other side of the desk, and the people that I talked to wasn't gonna tell me that I didn't understand that.
What I heard from her was, she would say, "Mom, it feels like I'm so different from the other kids. They're worried about their hair or what video game they're gonna play." She goes, "We're worried about where we're gonna live, what we're gonna eat, how we're gonna stay safe." She said, "It's just so different. I feel so different, like nobody understands."
But for junior high and high school kids, they definitely do not want their peers to know. They want to be, they just want to blend in.
Unfortunately, it's increasing, and I could say for Fremont, it's the expense of living in this area. Job at McDonald's or whatever, isn't going to pay enough to live. We have different homeless situations. So we have the student that's living on the street. Then we have students that are in the homeless shelter. Then we have students that are in the low income housing.
They could be doubled up, which is also considered homeless, and they're sleeping in their aunt's living room or in a garage or what have you. All they know is they have a place to lay down right at night.
This low income housing, even though it's low income, they're still really homeless, because in that apartment is living many people. I would say, let's say 8 with a two bedrooms. So all these little children, right? Some have to sleep on the floor, some, on the couch or in the bathtub. So being able to, when they come to school, they're already upset because depending on where they slept, they didn't have breakfast.
I do feel like you can tell in their attendance. You can tell in their grades. A lot of times their grades suffer because they may not have a space to do homework, right? There's a lot of noise, they're in the living room, there's a lot of people living in the same household. So there's a lot of challenges that kind of hinder their education, right? And them being able to learn. And sometimes transportation is an issue. Parents don't have a working vehicle. Their school may be further out when they have to stay at somebody else's house. So it makes it hard for them to make it to school. Like some of our high school students, they have to work to be able to contribute to the family so that they can, have food on the table. So, they don't really have a choice. So for them, making money is more important than going to college, because that's what's going to feed them right now.
people just see homelessness as being bad people, drug addicts, crazy people. And with that kind of community, you're not gonna be able to really do too much. So, you know, if you want to talk about homeless, then you want to talk about, well, why did people get homeless? But why did I use? Why did I choose to be homeless instead of going here? Well, I don't want to follow no rules because I want to get high. You know, no one wants to answer those questions. So, you know, a lot of people will say drugs is a product of a deeper issue. Mental health is the product of a deeper issue. Unhealed trauma. It's not the origin. It's not the origin, no. But I would say 80% of the people that are out here homeless, whether if it's youth or adults, they're not gonna wanna go from where they're at into a shelter and sleep next to someone that they don't know because it's not safe. You put me next to someone who's addicted like me, you got my trauma, I'm paranoid, whatever you wanna call it, schizophrenic, post-traumatic stress, whatever it is, you mix the drugs, the coming down we can't use in here, and you wanna put me next to somebody who is just like me and think we're gonna cohabitate this place? But this is the answers that we're given. And if you hear about a lot of the answers for homelessness, especially in Fremont builds a lot of places. You see it every day. You see the mayor talk about it, you see the county talk about it, you see California talk about it, you see Gavin Newsom talk about it. They build a lot of places, but they're not eliminating the root cause. They're not eliminating the root cause. They're not gonna survive and most likely not make it into any of these low-income apartments that you got building around here. So where does the issue go? It doesn't go nowhere. You can't build your way out of homelessness. You can't just put someone into a bed or a roof and think that their homelessness is fixed. Find them a place, but they got an addiction. That addiction is gonna take away at least $200-300 of that a week. Where's their rent gonna come from? They're gonna end up right back in the street. You're not fixing the problem, you're delaying it. So now you got the parents of the children, the kids are seeing this, right? As they grow older, this core belief is gonna follow them. Homelessness is gonna follow them into their adulthood to where their mentality is gonna be survival.
You can't do things in isolation. You can't. You have to have a community that's working together.
I think community, absolutely community, because McKinney-Vento is a federally funded program, right? And we have those funds, but there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of things we can't do. So I feel like if I didn't have the community behind me and the community partners, I would feel very sad and very alone in this fight, right? Because it takes a village.
So one would be not to criminalize those that are homeless, number one. And number two, to fund those agencies that are actually trying to build safe spaces within the community. Fund them, get behind them. Community, politics, get behind them. Because where the community can't do it, the county can't do it, the state can't do it, the nonprofits, the community-based organizations are already here and they're knocking on the door. So fund the programs.
She tells me to this day, she looked me in the eye and she said, "Mom, it was the best decision of your life to leave Dad." And that made me feel like I made the right decision.